Life is for sure full of surprises, some pleasant, others not so much. Over time, we've come across some out-of-this-world mysteries in some of the most unlikely places. This has been quite the mind-boggling experience, leading to more questions than answers. We're talking about medieval kings that have been buried underneath parking lots or graveyards in the desert. Here goes. 10 strangest things found in the middle of nowhere. Before we get started, hit the like button, subscribe and click the notification bell for more amazing content. Let's begin. Number 10. Miracle Lake. For this barren and dry landscape to have water is nothing short of a miracle. When shepherds came by the Loch Vescafsa, they might have thought it was a mirage at a distance, until they got closer and felt the water in their hands. This lake, smack in the middle of the Tunisian desert, is real. It apparently appeared from the middle of nowhere overnight. This special oasis extends 100,000 square feet and it's 30 to 60 feet deep. Question begs, where did this lovely lake come from in the drought-stricken desert? A few people speculate that the lake was a result of rainwater in a canyon that borders the lake. However, the theory is not very plausible since it would have taken a lot of rain to fill up the lake to such water levels. Other experts suggest that there's a possibility of seismic activity which disturbed the rock above the local water table, causing the water to rush to the surface. Maybe this magnificent lake is a natural occurrence. For the crowds of people who make their way to the newly established Gafsa Beach, being able to swim in the scorching heat is nothing short of a miracle. For the first few days when the lake came into being, its waters were turquoise and crystal clear. After a few days, it became murkier and had algae. There were rumours from the Office of Public Safety that the lake could be carcinogenic. Yikes. That said, we think this lake in the middle of a dry desert is a wonder to behold. Number 9. Siberian Snowballs. In the middle of a beach in Siberia, a very strange yet natural phenomenon gets everybody whispering and murmuring. These crazy snowballs appeared from nowhere and gave the locals of the village Yama Peninsula quite a shocker. This beach out in the Arctic was home to some very perfect and spherical snowballs, ranging in size from a couple of inches to almost 3 feet across. The villagers were baffled when they came across these balls and told the reporters they'd never seen anything like this in their village. So what's the explanation? The Siberian snowballs first showed up in October when the slush-frozen water rose, coating the shore in a layer of ice. As tides went up, the winds rolled the ice along the beach, forming the snowballs in a myriad of shapes and sizes. It looks so cute, and it's such a shame that the balls would eventually melt. Maybe one day the snowballs will return once more. Number 8. A Georgian church. Surrounded by quiet Georgian mountains, this naturally towering pillar is almost inaccessible. The first person to ever live there was a monk who was trying to avoid all worldly temptations. A tiny collection of religious buildings is patched up on the top of this 130-foot-high limestone monolith, and it's a good 20-minute hike from the nearest village. The inspiring structure can only be reached by a thin metal ladder bolted onto the rock face, and there's also an ingenious winch system that allows the villagers on the ground to send food up and save the trip upwards, which would be back-breaking. So, what lies in the middle of the stone column? There's a tiny Orthodox church, burial chamber, a wine cellar, and 3 hermit cells. There's also a crypt with the bones of the monks who lived there in the days gone by. Would you entertain the thoughts of living up the Kachiki pillar? Number 7. Giant Armadillo. One farmer was out doing his usual daily activities in the capital of Argentina, Buenos Aires, and he made an amazing discovery. First, he thought he'd stumbled upon an ancient dinosaur egg. The truth is, he'd found something more exciting. Not 1, not 2, but 4 glyptodonts, a prehistoric mammal that existed during the Pleistocene era, some 20,000 estimated years ago. This armoured creature was related to the modern-day armadillo and would have weighed at least 1,000 kilograms. Hidden under dust and dirt in a dried-up riverbed, these specimens were all facing the same direction when they died. This suggests that perhaps they were all migrating to somewhere together when disaster struck. Imagine finding a prehistoric animal that became extinct 10,000 years ago when you're out running errands. Number 6. Denmark's underwater waterfall. The world's largest waterfall is in a very peculiar place. You can't really take any pictures with it in the background or with any selfie stick. This is because the waterfall is not on land, it's in the water, in the Denmark Strait to be precise, separating Iceland and Greenland. This waterfall is 11,500 feet tall and is not even closely comparable to the largest waterfall on land, which is only 3,212 feet. It's hard to imagine. This is also a first for me. Whoever thought that underwater waterfalls were a thing? This very strange phenomenon happens when cold water meets warm water, causing the chilly water that's flowing south to meet warmer water from the sea, and the cold dense water then sinks below the warm water and spills over a drop at a time to the bottom of the ocean, with an estimated downward flow of over 123 million cubic feet per second. Whoa. Number 5. King Richard III's grave. Time for a pop quiz. What's the craziest thing you've ever found in a parking lot? A couple of dollars left behind by a random stranger? Or some worthless garbage tossed from someone's car? In this parking lot in Leicester, England, an awesome discovery was made that's now considered one of the most important and historical finds in British history. Archaeologists and researchers from the University of Leicester could not believe their eyes when they found the skeleton of a member of the royal family, King Richard III, who had one of the shortest reigns among all British monarchs. He sat on the throne for just 2 years, and this was between 1483 and 1485. It's not that he was not a legendary king. He's often described as a bloodthirsty tyrant and was the last king of England to die in battle. He passed many laws that are still in effect today, including the concept of bail. He enjoyed life to the fullest and enjoyed a diet of wine, swan, crane and heron. So what was His Highness doing in a parking lot? Turns out the building was once a church called Greyfriars, which was home to the 13th century monks. The historians suspect that the king was killed after 2 blows to the head in the Battle of Bosworth before the church was abolished in the reign of King Henry VIII. Since finding the grave, a few facts were uncovered. That the king was related to the British actor Benedict Cumberbatch, and they are actually third cousins 16 times removed. Number 4. Bosnian Sphere. Deep in the woods of Bosnia and Herzegovina lies a huge rock that has placed this small village on the map. The mystery ball has a diameter of 10.8 feet and weighs almost 35 tons, twice as heavy as the Costa Rican stone sphere. But how did this stone make its way to southeastern Europe? Scientists are at odds. One archaeologist, better known as the Bosnian Indiana Jones, suggests that this stone was made by an ancient civilization that lived in the area 1,000 years ago, with advanced tech that was ahead of its time. If indeed it was created by humans, the Bosnian sphere could be the biggest man-made sphere ever to be discovered. Some scientists are, however, skeptical that this strange stone ball in the forest is actually proof of a lost civilization. They're inclined to believe that this rock is as a result of a well-known geological occurrence called concretion, which is rich in iron. This actually explains the red coloration of the Bosnian sphere. What do you think? Is this rock from the future or from the past? Number 3. Elephant at sea. When a Sri Lankan ship was patrolling the country's northeastern coast, they came to a very outrageous discovery. The last thing you'd expect to find 15 kilometers from shore is an enormous elephant. This is what they saw via their binoculars. Once they saw the elephant struggling in the water, a rescue mission was set up to rescue the bewildered animal. The rescue operation took 12 hours. Wildlife explains that the elephant was swept into the ocean as it tried to cross Kokilai Lagoon, a body of water in between 2 sections of the Sri Lankan jungle. Although elephants are considered to be the best swimmers of all mammals, salt water can damage their skin. That, combined with the energy it takes to swim, it can exhaust a fully grown elephant. The poor elephant was almost completely submerged and was using its trunk as a makeshift snorkel in its attempt to survive. In scuba gear, the rescue team used ropes to tie the elephant and pulled it back to safety. Jumbo the elephant was returned back to land safe and secure. Number 2. Whale graveyard in the desert. This astonishing whale graveyard is believed by some to have originally been preserved 5 million years ago when a toxic algal bloom poisoned 40 whales. The animals were all facing downwards in the same direction, meaning it was one cause that wiped them out. The graveyard has the remains of 4 catastrophic events that happened over thousands of years. The graveyards are quite creepy, and the skeletons were discovered near Cerro Balena in Chile, which is better known as Whale Hill. The amazing specimens are a rare snapshot of an ancient marine ecosystem along the coasts of South America. Archaeologists digging up the whale bones also found sperm whales and ancient walrus, whale, fish seals and even aquatic sloths. Number 1. Python invasion. This will for sure happen when you interfere with nature. The Burmese python is not supposed to be found in the habitat of the United States. That said, looks like it's here to stay. These humongous killer snakes are originally from Southeast Asia, but the python is now thriving and surviving in the scorching hot sun in southern Florida. These snakes have destroyed the delicate ecosystem of swamps and marshes and are now said to have dominated acres upon acres of land and are killing a large number of original species in their path, including the scary alligator. question is, what is this reptile doing so far away from home? How did it get here? In 1992, a devastating hurricane caused this python to escape its natural habitat, which was a breeding facility in the region, bringing them into the wild. There's also the fact that people who owned these pythons as pets decided to let them free when they became too big to handle. The python is getting out of hand though, its breeding is out of control, and it can't get any worse than this, for sure. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please let me know by clicking the like button. Do share, write a comment, and don't forget to subscribe so that you can catch up my next video.